for RD and FD. So in next user meeting.
Let me know when you're ready.
Sure, go right ahead now, Satya.
Okay. So, so this presentation is, I could show a bit of code for those who are interested, and I could walk you through the functionality that we've worked so far and what's to come in a week or so ahead. So the problem here is we need a way to access data offline on the mobile app. By offline, what we mean is no internet connectivity. So we took one use case, which is the collection sheet information that that one would download and use it when they're visiting a particular site. Input some data for that collection sheet and then save it for submitting to the backend server at a later point of time when they get the connectivity restored. So so what we've done is for now there's a menu called offline, and when the user taps on it, it downloads all the collection sheet data for a few days that that the user wants to download, and it shows him in a grouped way. So he could look at the group and look at the information that is supposed to come so for the clients and what are the payments that are pending for those clients. Now, the way we do it here is when it chooses to go offline, we call a API to get the collection sheet information, and we create tables in the Android database and start storing that information locally. So so when the user eventually goes offline, we could show him the data from the local database. For those who understand a bit of code, this would be we are using a library called Sugar ORM, which helps us work with the underlying database. It's a very lightweight ORM for Android, and for integration with the APIs, we are using something called Retrofit. It's a popular library to integrate with RESTful interfaces, and we use Google's JSON library to do the JSON parsing and construction of objects. So that's the technical overview, and the functionality so far is the first part where we are able to download the information and show it to the user offline. Going forward, in a week, we would have adding the collection sheet information. So the loan officer would be entering the amount that is collected from different clients and then saving the data. That would be saved offline as well, and when the collection officer or the loan officer is online, he would basically sync the data with the backend server. That functionality would be integrated as part of this as well. So a lot of this is backend code, so there's not much in UI to show, but that's pretty much what we've achieved so far. So if you guys have any questions, technical ones, I could answer them now.
And Satya, was there anything apart just around the entire application in general, not just the offline components you wanted to share?
Yes, I've been primarily focusing on the offline component, but other than that, the application has the online piece as well, where users can see the clients associated with them and the centers that they are associated with. And so what we do online is whenever the user is connected to the network, then he could fetch data directly from the servers and view the information and interact with it real time. Offline becomes more like when he's disconnected with the internet. So on this piece, when I started, we looked at the Android code, and we did some modifications to kind of improve the quality there. One of the libraries we used, one of the improvements we did was introduce a library called Butter Knife. So Butter Knife helps you avoid some of the boilerplate and reduces the code that you eventually write. Let me see if I have an example. Yeah. So in Android, what you do is you have a separate layout file, and you access particular views through a context, with each access there's about 3-4 lines of code that goes with it. And with Butter Knife, you start using annotations, and it kind of does the dependency injection for you. That's an interesting library that we used. And apart from that, we cleaned up some of the view elements and made the code more stable, the current code. That was one other activity that we performed in the last couple of weeks. And yeah, Ishan is working on the online piece. I mean, he should be able to give more information on that.
Okay, thanks, Satya, for this. Oh, sorry, Antonio, go ahead.
Oh, I just had a quick question about the overflow menu. Does it goes away when you click on centers?
Sorry, it goes away?
Did I see it? Did it disappear when you had the centers list view up?
Centers? Yeah. So so it is manipulated with the fragments. So right now, I think this would not be the launch point for offline mode. This is only for temporary purpose. I assume we do not have the UI specs, but I assume there would be a menu appearing from the left-hand side, and that would have the launch point for offline mode.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, the overflow may get too crowded depending on the functionality we keep adding. So a menu on the left is more conventional mode of adding navigation items.
Right. Okay. Thanks.
Sure.
And Ashok, did you have a question earlier?
Satya, I just wanted to know, what is the data store you're using on Android, and if possible, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's too technical. I mean, is it possible to just have a look around the data structure?
Yeah, sure. So what we have is a SQLite database that Android provides inbuilt, right? Let me see if I could show you the domain model that we have right now. So so this package that you see right now, just flatten. Okay, so these are some of the classes that we've created, which are used to store the information. For example, what we get from collection sheet is a list of groups and client. A group contains a client, and client has a loan. So this is a typical structure that it has. So what we do is we create classes which represent the underlying tables, and we just interact with them. Yeah, I mean the underlying database is SQLite, but at the code level we do not do the SQLite operations, because there are a few advantages of going with this approach. One is your code is much more readable. You understand the objects, and because you have abstracted out the database. Second is you do not write a lot of SQL queries, so your code eventually becomes more maintainable as well.
So if we wanted to add a record for a savings account or a table for a savings account, this is where we would do it?
Yes, so you would create a class which extends a sugar record, and this would take care of creating the table for you.
Awesome.
Yeah, sugar helps you in a few ways. It helps you create a database. It helps you create tables and upgrade databases. It helps in data migration as well, and your regular CRUD operations, create, update, and queries, all that without writing raw SQL queries.
Nice.
So typically you would go to this package. So Sugar as such does not restrict you to a certain package, but for our benefit, we restrict all our entity classes into one package. I've called it DB for now. So all our entity classes would go into this package, and that would be referred in all other views and fragments and all that. Nayan, does that answer your question?
Yes, it answers mine. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes. I have one more question around it. I have one more question around it. I mean, did we, evaluate, storing a raw JSON versus having a, relational structure?
Sorry, storing the?
JSON itself, instead of having a relational data structure.
Yeah, you could look at the benefits that it provides. If you're just reading the information, it's fine to store it as a JSON. But if you're trying to manipulate, or if you're trying to store some, edit some information, you would typically want more safety, more of a safety net around that. And the second part is querying. If you're trying to filter a few things, again, you have to parse the JSON and do different things to. It's a roundabout way of trying to make a JSON file as a database. Sorry about that. Yeah, SQLite is generally gives you all those facilities inbuilt. So in this case, SQLite is more preferred, because we are planning to do all the operations on it. We are querying data, we are inserting data, we are in cases updating data as well. So JSON for this use case, using JSON as a backend data store is not the best approach.
Okay. Yeah, the only reason why I asked is, so we can't really have a generic offline. For example, tomorrow if you want to extend the offline functionality for savings, then probably we'll write a code. I mean, like, basically we need to come up with another, tables to store all those information.
Yeah. So if you're looking at a totally generic solution, you could have it. Then you could draw your forms online and pass that metadata and generate the forms on Android on the mobile client. There's something called I think Open Data Kit by Google, which does something like that. So the client does not know anything about the forms or the input data. All the metadata comes from the server. Yes. So if you're looking at that kind of a solution, we could explore a bit more on that. But right now, I thought the use case was fairly specific and pretty detailed, right? So we wanted just the collection sheet information, and yeah, in the state that right now we are, I think it's a decent approach to go with a custom code rather than making it too generic. But yes, certainly we can explore using a more generic approach to it.
Okay, why I'm reiterating, because see, once we build all our forms and all in the mobile client, see, I mean, when we're if we go offline and all, I mean, client knows how to prepare a JSON. I mean, the only thing is that it has to just put it in the local store and whenever it comes, just retrieve that data and post it. It may not be applicable for the collection sheet use case what you are doing, because we need to retrieve the data back and then display it to the user, and then user will manipulate it, and again you want to store it. But in other use cases, for example, a user wants to create a loan. I mean, he doesn't have any, I mean, he need not refer any old data. All the data he'll be capturing from the field and he'll be entering it. But only the use case what you are handling requires that data from the server. But in most of the cases, we don't need a data from the server. So in those cases, we can have a generic solutions, right? I mean, more like a key value.
Right. No, what you're saying is when we store, instead of storing it in a table, you persist the JSON as a JSON itself, right?
Yeah.
So your concern is more towards how do we convert this object into a JSON?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what happens here is this object is already so we use something called JSON, which does object to JSON mapping. So so the whole object to JSON conversion is done underneath. I mean, we do not in our code we do not deal with object to a JSON conversion. Let me show you an example.
That is fine, sir, because we use the same thing in the server side also. We use a JSON. Yeah. But my question was, I mean, whenever we want to add a new functionality, that results into a lot of code changes. Not code changes, like adding a new code. I mean, defining a new data structure and adding all these.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. Let me run you through one scenario. You'll probably appreciate what I'm saying. So let's say we have an example center service, which is one of the APIs, right? And we have this call for get all centers, where we are calling one of the APIs, and we want to fetch all the centers. So you're saying that it's a get method with centers as the endpoint, and you define a callback with which gives you a list of centers. Same way, when you're passing data, you pass the object itself. So you say get center, you pass the payload, and you get the callback of collection sheet. That's the object that you would get back. So so this is the advantage you have where you're just dealing with objects and not JSON data or database underneath and stuff like that. Other than that, we could always discuss on that approach later. But I do not see a specific advantage of persisting it as JSON versus persisting it in SQLite. But on the other side, I see advantages of using objects rather than using JSON as a persistent store.
Yeah, sure, Satya. I mean, we can do a one more round of discussion.
We have a discussion tonight, so we could discuss in detail on that.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, well, if there are no more questions, we'll let Satya wrap up. So thanks, Satya. That was very informative, and I'm glad Antonio and Nayan had some questions to help dive further in.
Sure. I didn't get you. You have a question?
Oh, no, I didn't have any questions, Satya.
Okay.
I was just saying thank you for doing that presentation. So.
Thanks a lot for inviting me.
Okay. And then Oleg, is someone on your team, are they available now to do the showcase that you guys were looking to do? Okay. Well, let me make you the presenter. So I'm going to pass it away from you, Satya.
Sure.
So Oleg, you now have the control for the screen. And then you can share your screen when whoever from your team is ready to present.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah, it's visible right now. And Oleg, could you maybe move a little bit closer to the microphone? That way you'll be a little easier to hear.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me well now?
Yeah, that's pretty good now, Oleg.
Okay. Well, as we talked, I will show you a little presentation on Cyclone next meeting, but today I want to show you some things that guys have done. So one thing is a script, which we face the problem when we have to import big amount of accounts in Mifos. So there wasn't a tool for it. So we write a script that helps to import the transfer account and generate a hierarchy for it. So the script helps to generate the hierarchy for it to see chart of account view. So, as you see, there is a structure. Temporarily, we use the same code to check correctness of sequence. That's it. Have you any questions? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can still hear you, Oleg. I think, yeah, no questions from my end on that, so I think you can continue on with the other items you were going to showcase.
So yes. Also, we guys wrote code, so now we can send messages on numbers. So we can send messages to users. We tested it for one number.
And where is this pulling? Is this mobile number stored in the client's record, Oleg, or where is it pulling their mobile number from that it's sending to?
From database.
Okay.
Okay, so tested it and it works. And also, as I received mail from Sander recently, and he said that his team doesn't work on UI, only on backend, so we can work on UI as well.
Mm-hmm.
This is not final look, but we started working on it. So we also read the requirements of FINA wrote us requirements, and we read it and we'll work on it. So that's
Okay. Did you want to walk us through, Oleg, one example of the workflow when sending an SMS to a client?
well, we added this number manually
Okay, okay.
on an X number.
Okay, but the other client workflow is still in progress where you'd actually, through that menu you just brought up, that's still being worked on?
I didn't hear you.
Oh, I was saying that the other menu that you showed, that's still in progress where you go through the selection of a client and then send it from the template?
You're talking about this?
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I'm thinking about design, and this is just simple. Wait.
Okay, okay.
Huh? So that's one more thing we wanted to show is this is more like for pawn shops. They have several types of collaterals, and the standard two field value and description isn't enough. We made so now we can add the custom fields to each collateral. For example, this collateral have 5 fields like value, mass, quantity, and sample. Car might have other another fields, type of fields. So now we are working on server side to finish it.
And for that collateral tracking, Oleg, was that using the data tables approach? Or?
Now created the additional people in database, and we can show you the construction on next meeting when we finish it.
And Ashok, did you have any questions around what FINA did with the collateral? I know you were providing some suggestions before. So. Oh, Ashok, you might have been on mute if you were trying to talk. So.
No, I don't have any question.
Okay, okay. Just seeing if you did.
Okay, when we finish it, we can show you a full presentation of database structure, what we have added, and etc.
Okay, thank you, Oleg. Okay, well, thanks, Oleg, as well as the members from your team for showcasing those features, and we're looking forward to having those shared back with the community once you've got them completed. And I know Patrick, who is or was on the call, he's been very keen on seeing some of the SMS work. He's a partner in Ghana, so I'll connect you all with him offline. He might have some questions to ask about what you've done with the user interface around sending out the SMS notifications. And so, yeah, we still have another 10 minutes or so in case there are any calls or topics people would like to discuss openly. So, I'll just open the floor to any questions or ideas people would like to openly discuss right now. And if we don't have anything, we can wrap up early, but the floor is wide open now. So.
I just have a short question, especially to Satya. If I understand it right, your next use case will be storing the collection sheet information back if the mobile gets online again, right?
Yeah, the next set of work is first allowing user to input and save data while he's offline, and that saved data would be synced back to collection sheet once the network is restored. Yeah.
Okay, because Bishop and I'm currently working on the batch API, and this especially the collection sheet use case is the last one we will start, and maybe we should rethink that, right?
Sure. I do not have the total understanding of this. So probably in our evening's call we would see what else we can achieve, because the aim of this exercise is to run the overall sync flow, so that we have something offline and we are able to sync it online and kind of make sure that the sync works properly. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm fine if we get some sort of data that we could sync. So we thought collection sheet would be a good use case, but if it's not ready, we could switch to something else as well.
Yeah. Otherwise, if you're just doing it as it's done right now, we maybe could change it later if the batch API is in place, right?
Yeah, Marcus, this is Nayan here. I just wanted to add a context here. Satya, see, Marcus is building a batch. I mean, a module to process APIs in a batch. The reason, we had one of the issues, when we are syncing, if syncing module, try to sync twice, because of some error or something, and there's a possibility that it can make 2 repayments. So we wanted to introduce a universal unique ID with the APIs. Marcus said, better we can have a module which processes request in a batch. So that is the context Marcus is talking about.
Okay.
So since you're building a collection sheet, so Marcus is thinking, can he give high priority to build a batch processing for collection sheet or a repayment?
Okay. We could decide which use case we want to target for the sync approach. I personally, I don't think the batch processing is required for our sync to work, because there's some checks that we would have on the client side itself that prevents users from duplicate submission of data.
Yeah, there's the batch API just focus on 2 things, right? The first thing is try to omit duplicates, and the second focus is that we also will allow you to just insert more data in one call than instead doing a round tripping and always do a call for every single collection you've done, right? Or if you create a client and you're applying a loan for it, then you could all do this in one call instead of firing multiple calls.
I thought it was already there because the API I saw was taking a array of clients, array of payments, and is that the batch API that's in progress?
Satya, I mean, only like for collection sheet we have that feature, but Marcus is trying to build a generic batch processing. I mean, like, no.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Thanks, Marcus, for opening up that discussion. Were there any other topics people would like to explore? Okay, well, if there's nothing additional, we'll wrap up for today. And I wanted to thank everybody for joining once again, and especially Satya and Oleg for what they were able to present and showcase. And then I'll send out the link to the screencast and the notes to the mailing list. And then, yeah, if you have any other questions for Satya or Oleg, do send them to the mailing list, and they'll try to respond there. So at our next user call, which will be Thursday at 3:30 GMT, we'll do a demo of some of the new features we shipped recently. And then, yeah, we'll in the meantime, we'll also schedule what's going to be happening on our next developer call. So hope to talk to you all again in the near future. And thanks again, and everybody have a good afternoon or evening where you're calling from, or morning for Antonio as well.
Okay, bye.
Thanks, Ed.
Everyone, bye-bye. Take care.